これ感じる。これってナルトの心が私の術を通して。
あの時やっぱり声かけとけよかったってあの後で何度も思ったんだ。
心が入ってくる。
だから
これはあの時の。
俺は
Hello everybody, it's Batman, and I want to do a video today on basically talking about a fight that I don't know, with the right conditions and the right scenario, can more than likely and potentially and most definitely give Nagato a W in this fight, or at least some win type, some form of win conditions, you know what I mean, or win scenarios. Now obviously if you were to like scale it and see and be like who would more likely favor to, I would say EMS Madara with no nine tails, but does Nagato with the 6 paths of pain as well aiding him that are all tailed beast Genjutsu host as well, and we're talking about from 4 tails all the way to the 9 tails, and he has the other 3-tailed beast in the gedo statue, also the gedo statue at his disposal. You know what I mean? And along with, with Nagato, all his abilities, how he is by himself, and with the paths, of pain that fucking can not only do the same abilities, but also fucking, utilize their tailed beast, like, Genjutsu powers. Like, in my opinion, I feel like EMS Madara reminds you with no intel on the rinegan as well, because like basically what this fight is we are trying to like fucking buff Nagato as high as fucking possible, because obviously there's a big difference in scaling between Pain and Madara. It's fucking evident as day and it's clear as day. You know what I mean? There's tons of feats, tons of ways to prove that Madara is just in a whole other fucking class from Pain. But we're not talking about Pain and crippled Nagato. We're talking about prime alive Nagato, not even Edo. We've seen what Edo can do, but prime alive Nagato. Okay, and we've seen plenty of times the difference between an Edo and an alive character. For a perfect example, Edo Madara, Edo Rinnegan Madara with the Hosh amp, and then a live Madara. It's a big fucking deal, So, like, this is the version and character that we're talking about, and Nagato would know pretty much who Madara is and have intel on him. Okay, and the main reason why is because let's build this scenario where fucking this is right after Hosh and Madara came to a truce, and the Senju and Uchiha war was finally like at at bay, and they're kind of getting along, whatever, and basically Madara is kind of just doing his thing, whatever, and Nagato heard about like how bad the war was, and how much it affected, and knowing everything else that's going on in the world, then he's like, all right, well, I want to figure out a way how to find peace, blah blah blah. I'm gonna go confront this guy and pretty much tell him, hey, like, don't ever start your shit again, otherwise I'll stop you. You know, that's basically going to be the scenario. And then Madara, come on, we all know Madara, okay? He's the type of fucking guy that, like, he won't take any shit from anyone. You know what I mean? And he'll just look at Nagato and he'll be like, "Are you talking to me? You know, like don't flex on me. I don't know who you are. You know, you are beneath me." Now, you know, now the question is, like, I'm gonna be honest. If Madara sees Nagato, now this is another thing I'm gonna say too. Like, in character, Nagato also, like, you know what I mean, especially if he knows the person and he knows what they're capable of. In character, he will prep. You know what I mean? He's known for prepping, and he's known to use that prep knowledge to utilize that in a way that can benefit him. And so basically he'll pre-select which paths of pain to kind of put up against him, you know, and then basically go from there that he thinks would be the best to suit for the person he's fighting, and strategize. And even if he loses, you know what I mean, he'll still have the element of surprise, you know, bringing them back from the dead and catching whoever the fuck he's fighting off guard, and then, you know, either getting a freebie and being able to do either a one shot or a serious amount of damage. Okay, you know what I mean, and that could potentially be a W scenario, or it just, you know, sets up the fight more in his favor because now Madara is very injured or whatever, you know. So, you know, as you guys can see, this is kind of the angle that I'm playing at. You know, very, very nerfed, no intel on the Rinnegan version Madara, okay, has no nine tails as well, you know, so you can't utilize that either. Then you got the most powerful, like, prime form of Nagato you could possibly get, you know, and then on top of it, adding him to have like an unlimited amount of supply of chakra from the tailed beast that he has at his disposal as the paths of pain, you know what I mean, and then the Gedo statue, the 10 tails husk. And if he really wanted to, he could put all the fucking tailed beasts, you know what I mean, and just put them all back into the what's it called? The fucking, God, I'm being stupid. The Gedo statue, and then you know, just there you go. Now it's the fucking 10 tails, you know, and then control the fucking 10 tails, whatever, like yada yada, like. So basically, like, you know, he literally has broken ass paths of pain. He's at his strongest. Has the Gedo statue, can make the Gedo statue turn into the 10 tails if it even came down to that, which I highly doubt it even would have, okay? And then last but not least, like, fucking shit. No matter what, you guys can't say nothing, okay? If literally he becomes the 10 tails, okay, Genjutsu, Nagato, it's game over. Okay, whether if his mind is completely, you know, torn apart and it's just a rampaging, you know, 10-tailed mindless Genjutsu, or if it's him in control, whatever, Madara is dead. There's no way Madara would have anything in his utility to be able to fight something on that level of power, because anyone should understand that Jubito was more powerful than anyone on that battlefield. The entire Shinobi Alliance, Naruto, Sasuke, Hash, and Madara. And even Madara admits, like, oh shit, that guy's stronger than me now. Okay, so that's going to basically, you know, kind of be the brief summary. I've kind of rambled on long enough. Better than that, we're going to get straight into this video, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty, guys, so we're ready to go, and so basically we're going to talk about Madara first. It'll be just a lot more simple to talk about Madara. Obviously, the version that we're relating to is going to be EMS Madara, and it's with no nine tails, no knowledge of the Rinnegan, so meaning he hasn't read the stone tablet. He hasn't had his death match with the nine tails either. You know what I mean? It's just that version of Madara. So meaning the only thing in his utility is obviously the internal Mankyo Sharingan and also perfect Susanoo. So we all know his body, like his armor body for the Susanoo, is a pretty fucking big deal. Okay, and and for instance, like, you know, I guess most of the feats that you can at least, you know, no, all right, we could bring one up. So we can still talk about the Valley of the End Madara, even though this is not the version that we're referring to, because then he would know about the Rinnegan, you know, but regardless, he's still gonna have that level of power, you know what I mean? So, well, it is debatable because technically, you know what I mean, the more hatred you have and so on and so forth, that is an amp itself as well, and your chakra and all that goes up. So technically you could argue that this Madara is weaker than the Valley of the End Madara, but regardless, whatever. But anyways, what's it called? So like, you know, Madara Susanoo is pretty fucking, you know, powerful. You know, like just the armor itself was able to tank a full powered, you know, QB bomb. Okay. Not only that, like fucking the rods that were kind of like controlling half the power of the Nine Tails and the full power of the Eight Tails. You know, that were like thrown by like, I think it was Obito with the mask, or I don't know, I can't remember when, but you know, they were able to damage, you know, those two beasts and kind of like be fucking with them. And then I think it was just one or something like that. And then fucking Madara, like he just summons up just the aurora of like, you know, his body Susanoo, just like deflects them like they're fucking nothing. You know what I mean? So, you know, his Susanoo is no fucking joke. You know what I mean? Defense wise, you know, it is definitely, you could definitely argue it's you know, QB level, you know what I mean, or Genjutsu level. And then, you know, and the biggest thing about him is his perfect Susanoo. Obviously, that's his trump card. I mean, it's just a whole other fucking beast, you know, like perfect Susanoo, you know, has literally been shown to just slice countless of mountains, you know, in a big ass area, you know what I mean, in half and explosion wise, and cause, you know, like crazy ass wind currents, you know, like, and so it's a big fucking deal, you know, like, and during, for instance, when he, when the 5 cage were coming at him with full power and they pressed him enough, they used teamwork and pressed him enough to where he was forced to go into, you know, the perfect Susanoo, because that did happen. That's something we, you know, that we can't just ignore. He was forced to go to full power by the 5 Kage, and when that happened, you know, basically they're all just looking at him, shitting their pants, and just standing there in fear. And they're like, "What the fuck are we supposed to do against that?" You know, and literally Madara's like, "All right, so you know, this is the end, blah, blah, blah," you know, and then he literally, like, just for, like, shits and giggles and just to kind of, like, rub it in, you know, whip his dick out, he literally just fucking, like, takes his sword out and just, like, kind of slices at the air, not at them, but, you know, just slicing, you know, to kind of, like, just have his sword out, you know, to show his sword or whatever, and just from that happening, it shows all the fucking, you know, like, landscape, like, just slicing and blowing up, and then from the current of the force sends the 5 Kage like kind of flying backwards a little bit, not like crazy, you know, distance where they die, but like, you know, it does move them, you know, and they feel the fucking shockwave, you know, and just from it, like just slicing and moving, you know, and just moving the sword, you know, when he wasn't even like trying to like attack, you know, or whatever, or fucking just slam it, you know, and whatnot. Like, that was more than enough to fucking, you know, like, just overwhelm him. Just the force itself. It's a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? And, you know, so, like, Madara's perfect Susanoo is no fucking joke. And we've seen it also against in the fight with Hashirama, to where it's basically equivalent with fighting, you know, Hashirama's wood transformation. And not only that, it was also able to tank a QB bomb, a full power Nine Tails QB bomb. Now, if there was like a shit ton of QB bombs kind of coming at him, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't think, you know, he would be able to take that much damage. I'm pretty sure it would break through. But, you know, either way, for him to at least tank one of those, that's very fucking impressive, you know? So, and that's basically just him overall, you know, defense wise, feat wise. There's probably way more feats you can talk about, you know, so on and so forth, but it's a pretty big deal, you know. And then not only that, you know, another thing that we can also talk about is his Genjutsu. So Madara's Genjutsu is literally pretty fucking great. You know, just with his base Sharingan, he's able to look at the Nine Tails and control him like his little bitch, okay? He's not even using MS, you know, obviously not using rinegan, but just with a base Sharingan, he's able to control the Nine Tails like it's nothing, you know, and just use him as his pet. And he did it so efficiently, so effortlessly, that literally the Nine Tails fucking fears his name, okay? Just hearing his name or feeling his presence or anything fucking, like, you know, shakes him up. And you're talking about the fucking Nine Tails, you know? And literally, like, just Madara itself, okay, bothers the Nine Tails so much that he literally is like, nah, Naruto, you can use all my fucking power, blah blah blah, this and that. I'd rather be controlled by you than that motherfucker, you know. So, and the fact that like he's that much, you know, of a fucking presence, you know, that's saying something, you know. And his Genjutsu's no fucking slouch, you know. So, you know, that's also another thing to put into consideration. Now, do I think Madara's Genjutsu would be absolutely essential in this fight? No. In all honesty, I don't think he's going to really be able to mainly utilize that, to be honest. You know, and let's say even if he could, you know what I mean, and he could use it, I don't think it would work on Nagato, especially just his level of power, of how much chakra reserves he has, and so on and so forth. And even if like he did get caught in a Genjutsu, just him, the other pains could break him out, you know, so on and so forth, you know, yada yada, and that's just that, you know. But you know, I don't know. So it's just like, I don't know. I just don't see it being absolutely essential, but it's just something I do want to kind of put out there, like just for people to not, you know, miss out. Like his Genjutsu prowess is no fucking joke, and if he was using like his, you know, EMS Genjutsu level, you know, and probably try to apply that on Nagato, you could argue and say it more than likely would work. But see, my whole problem with that is like the only time we've seen Genjutsu work fucking very effectively, it didn't do it immediately, but pretty like soon, was Sage Genjutsu. And that you can argue that is different, you know what I mean? You could definitely argue that Sage Genjutsu and visual Genjutsu is completely different, you know what I mean? Because he was here, he like, it worked, like, you know what I mean? It worked from just like the senses, you know what I mean? Like from him just hearing the fucking frog song or whatever, you know? So that being the case, you know, it clearly, you know, there's a difference, but like, I don't know, like, you know, Madara doesn't have Sage Genjutsu, you know what I mean? At least this version, you know, not that I know of, and it's never been shown. You know, he would only just have the Genjutsu that he can use from his visual prowess. So it's like, it's very hard to kind of compare the two, you know what I mean? And then not only that, technically Sasuke, even though I know he had 6 paths chakra, you know what I mean, his Rinnegan eye, and well, technically it's the Rin and Sharingan or whatever, but so I know it's a different eye, and I know Sasuke has 6 paths as well, but that was able to resist the infinite Tsukiyomi, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, I feel like if you're strong enough, or if your visual prowess, you know, is pretty strong enough that it can, you know, be able to like negate Genjutsu or whatever, which has been shown, you know what I mean? Kakashi is an excellent example. He's not an Uchiha or anything, but his MS was able to resist Itachi's MS, you know what I mean? And then another thing too, what's it called? I think it was, I'm trying to remember. Was it something else? Who was it? Oh, Sasuke. You know what I mean? Sasuke's base Sharingan was able to resist. He had to go, you know, to obviously CM2, okay? But when he used CM2 and put all that power, which is technically similar to Sage Mode as well, into his Sharingan, he was able to break out of Tsukiyomi, you know what I mean, the Genjutsu, and then his eye was strong enough to kind of resist it or whatever. So, you know, it's been shown and implied in Naruto that you know, if your eye is strong enough or whatever, that you can be able to resist it, you know. So, like I said, that's why, like, I don't know, it's very debatable, and, you know, it's not an absolute win condition for Madara anyways, and I don't think it would even be essential at all in this fight, period. So that's just going to be my first thing I'm going to say. But anyways, so basically, regardless of that, that's pretty much all I can say with Madara. Obviously, we know his taijutsu is insane, you know what I mean? His intelligence is insane, his analysis abilities, technician abilities, so on and so forth are pretty fucking great. You know what I mean? Like, he's no joke. He's no slouch. He's very aware of a lot of things, you know, has a very good amount of knowledge when it comes to jutsus and so on and so forth. So he's pretty good with that, okay? But that'll be Madara so far, okay? And so now let's talk about Nagato. So with Nagato, well, actually, before we even talk about Nagato, we'll talk about the pains. So with the paths of pains, obviously, basically what they're known for is not really like their durability or their speed or strength and things like that, but they're really known for their hacks and abilities. You know, that's kind of like the big thing, you know what I mean? Or better yet, just applying a lot of pressure, you know, and just using team coordination to be able to counter, you know, certain levels of opponents, whether those opponents are either stronger than him or not. That's what they're mainly known for. You know, the paths of pains are not known for power itself, like similar to Madara or Hashirama. Instead, they're known for their hacks, their abilities to have the element of surprise, to catch people off guard, and just literally defy the laws of ninja, basically. You know what I mean? So that's basically the paths of pain and what they're kind of like designed for, you know. And basically they're there to, you know, obviously have more numbers, you know what I mean? Because obviously 1 to 5 is, you know, it obviously puts, you know, whoever is by themselves having to fight 5 or 6 fucking people, you know, it's a big disadvantage, you know. It's clearly shown when Obito is controlling all the tailed beast Genjutikis with that have a Sharingan and the Rinnegan, okay, which those are amps as well itself. But besides that, you know, just with 6 of them, even though they're weaker tail beast, you know what I mean, Genjutikis, they're still giving Naruto and Killer Bee a run for their money, you know, and swapping hands, so on and so forth, you know, and clearly putting a lot of pressure. And basically, Naruto and Killer Bee would have lost if it wasn't for Kakashi and Guy coming in just in time and saving them, you know. And then basically when Obito got serious during that fight and he decided to, you know, just to amp them up, they immediately went from base form to like fucking either their max tail, power up, you know. So like for instance, if Four Tails, he immediately is like now in that dark QB chakra cloak with 4 tails, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and so on and so forth. So you know that fucking, you know, power up is a big fucking deal too. And then, you know, they were able to just, you know, cause a lot of pressure, a lot of problems, so on and so forth, you know, yada yada yada. And then they get to their next like next power up, which is the full tailed beast transformation. And that shit is pretty crazy too, and I'll get into all that as well. But regardless, you know, they're a big deal, you know what I mean? So, and that's just, you know, kind of like emphasizing on that a little bit. But back to the paths and what I really want to just kind of lay out on the table, you know, you got the Tendo Pain, which obviously with you know, gravity and all that, to where he can either pull you towards, doesn't matter how powerful, he can pull you no matter what, or he can use Shinra Tensei or Amadi Push and basically just blast away. It can negate all ninjutsu. And then physical attacks, if you're powerful enough, okay, depending on like the scale of power between the person that's using the ability and the other person, you know, then it can be reversed, okay? But if you're not more powerful than the person, you know what I mean? Or if you don't have that level of power, then it's not going to happen and you're just going to get blasted away and get bodied, okay? So for instance, like the best way to really explain that is, you know, like a basic, you know, Almighty Push was able to send all the sage creatures, you know what I mean, the Tog Frodes flying away like thousands of miles away and broke all their bones, okay? You know, and the only way like someone could like withstand it, you know, was either if it was a 6 tails Naruto with the half the power of the QB, okay? Or if it's, you know, obviously someone that has, you know, more power than that or equivalent to that, you know, to where they're able to, you know, resist or reverse the technique, you know. So the technique can be disregarded, it can be reversed, but once again, you have to be more powerful than the user that's using it. And remind you, we are talking about a weaker, fatigued, exhausted Pain. So that's also, you know, variables that it can also play into as well. But besides that, you know, that's something I do want to point out there. You know, it's not like 100% perfect where it just negates all taijutsu attacks as well or power attacks. Like that's not the case. It just negates all chakra and all, you know, ninjutsu attacks. Now, if you really wanted to like really highball that ability, you know what I mean? Technically the Susanoo is chakra, you know, so like if you want to say that it would maybe neglect that as well because it's chakra, you know what I mean, then sure. But I don't know, that's kind of really wanking, you know what I mean, Pain or Nagato or Pain pretty fucking high, so I'm just not even gonna do that. But anyways, so that's kind of that Pain. Then you have, you know, the Robotic Pain, which basically he can fucking make multiple heads. He has all these fucking weapons and gadgets that basically shown with the level of power that it has is, you know, like city level attacks and stuff like that. You know, his durability is fucking insane, if we're really being honest. Like, you know, so like if we like the best way to explain his durability, okay, is like if you look at the you know, the Tendo Pain, and see how he was taking attacks from Six Tails Naruto or taking attacks from Sage Mode Naruto. You know what I mean? You know, that's him. And his durability is a lot weaker than this Pain. This Pain could fucking take a full-on fucking, like, direct hit from Kakashi's Chidori, okay? Which we've seen his Chidori be strong enough to fucking cut through, like, Tail Beast, you know what I mean? And whatnot, and so on and so forth, you know? And the amount of speed amp that it also gives to Kakashi as well. So, like, we've seen what Chidori is pretty fucking capable of, you know, with Kakashi. And the fact that that fucking Pain was able to still take that hit and it didn't even, like, go through him completely, you know what I mean? Or just obliterate him or whatever. Like, that's a pretty big fucking deal. And it gave him enough time to where, you know, Pain was able to hit that 5-second mark and just blow everything up, you know? So it's like, that's a pretty fucking big deal, you know? And that's just that. Now, other than that, the other thing to add to it is, you know, when Choji and Choji's dad, reminds you, also fucking smashed the Pain on the ground with both their fists. So, like, it was completely flattened, you know, and it was like, fucking, that's basically what happened. And it reminds you, like, Choji fucking punched the ten-tailed husk in the fucking face and was able to move it a little bit, you know. So it's like, you know, like, Choji's punch and his dad's punch are no fucking joke, okay, you know. So has a lot of fucking force, and he literally took that hit, okay, and was still able to move fast enough to take the hit from Kakashi using his Chidori. That's pretty fucking crazy, okay? And then other than that, then fucking Pain does his almighty push, which reminds you, we've seen a basic low version of that, what it can do to the Toads. And the fact that his almighty push fucking, you know, hit everything around at that point. And the Tendo Pain is still, not Tendo, the Robot Pain, it can still fucking move and act and shoots a goddamn missile, you know, at Choji, so he wouldn't relay the intel that they just obtained, and that's why Kakashi had to kill himself, you know, to use the MS, and it depleted his stamina, and he died. So it's like, that Pain's no fucking joke, you know what I mean? Like, he can take a lot of damage, he really fucking can, you know, so that's something definitely not to miss out, and remind you, you know, that's his same robotics or whatever durability feats and all that are going to be applied to Nagato. And remind you, we're talking about an alive Prime Nagato, okay? And also, you know, that, so whatever path, you know what I mean, of Pain that is, you know, shit, like fucking, whether if it's that at the 8 tails or 9 tails, that's going to be a big fucking deal. And another thing to really keep in mind too is, you know, I didn't label like which tail beast would be which path. So that's something I do as well want to re-clarify. And this is going to be like a pretty big deal to kind of like emphasize on, because, you know, with them having way more, you know, like chakra reserve, tail beast formation, or just, you know, power-ups or whatever in general, like that's going to be a big fucking deal. But basically, so literally the first path, we'll say the Tendo, just want to make sure I'm getting this right. I wrote it down just to make sure I don't say the wrong thing. Okay, so it will be Diva Path would be with the full power 9 tails. That's the one that can do Almighty Push or the pull. So imagine him using fucking Almighty Push with the full power 9 tails chakra. That's pretty like, just imagine that. Imagine the devastation that would cause, you know. So you're talking about that. Then you have the Ashura path, which would be the 8 tails. That's who I'm giving the 8 tails to. You know, and imagine with his durability feats, all that robotic, you know, his strength, you know, and whatnot, like that's gonna be a big fucking deal. You know, then the 6 tails would be the animal path. The actually, no, hang on. Yeah. The human path is the 6 tails, my fault. The animal path would be the 7 tails, and then 5 and 4 for the last 2. However you want to do it, I don't care. Okay. But regardless, you know, like, just that's going to be the paths of Pains, and that's who's going to have what type of tail beast inside of them. And the reason why I'm doing this, guys, you guys are probably like, whoa, fucking the Paths of Pains have tail beasts. What are you on? Why are you giving that to Nagato? Whatever. Okay, it's been done and it can happen. Obito, he did the same exact thing. He had a rinegan and a Sharingan, and he had the 6 Paths of Pain as the tail beast, okay? And he had the strongest versions of the tails. The rest were in the Gedo statue already, okay? So, with that being said, it can happen. It is a possibility. And, mind you, we're giving Nagato the rinegan at its full amount of power. So, meaning he's the original user, not the fake user. You know what I mean? And what I mean by fake user or original, like Kakashi, he's fake. Obito's the real user. Okay, Madara's real. Nagato's fake. I'm not applying that, okay, with Nagato. Nagato is the real user this time. So you see, like, you know what I mean, how I'm really fucking wanking him up there, and that this is the version of character that I'm talking about, at least conditions-wise and whatnot. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, you know what I mean, like I said, you already originally know the scale gap, you know, or the gap of power between EMS Madara and Nagato. In my opinion, it's only fair and only believable for him to take a W or win in this fight, period. Okay, if you are able to bump him up and amp him up as much as possible. Okay, so that's why we're doing this to begin with. But anyways, so now that I clarified what the Paths of Pains will be as well, we're going to go back to, you know, doing a little small review with them. We already talked about the robot, his durability and all that, which makes him impressive. Another thing that's really fucking cool, okay, is the fact that literally his strength is no fucking joke. You know what I mean? Like, his strength was able to hold the Killer Bee, and he couldn't move or do anything. And then it's robotics and machinery start transforming and shit, and he's about to do like a full-on blast to Killer Bee's face and kill him right there and then, you know. And while he's ripping out Naruto's fucking soul and whatnot too, you know. So like, his strength is fucking no joke, you know. Then you have the feat where he's able, like, and I swear, like, a lot of people like miss out on this feat, and a lot of people really sleep on this. But this Pain was able, and mind you, we're talking about the weakest version of Pain with Cripple Nagato controlling them. Okay, so put that into consideration as well. He was able to sneak up on a Sage Mode Jiraiya with paw on his shoulders. Okay. And literally ripped his arm off and slammed him through a wall. Okay? That's a big fucking deal. Somehow, some way, he was able to bypass the Sage Mode sensory capabilities and precognition ability and literally take off the arm of Sage Jiraiya. Okay? And we all can, I'm pretty sure we all can agree that Sage Mode does amp you up strength, speed, you know, and durability wise as well. So the fact that he could rip his arm off like it's a fucking toothpick, you know what I mean, and slam him through a wall, you know what I mean, like, that's just insane levels of fucking strength. Like, it's fucking insane, you know. But anyways, so, you know, and the fact that he could sneak up on a Sage Mode user, that's just very, very impressive in my opinion, you know. And if he could be able to do that to a Sage Mode user, I don't see why he could be able to use that same exact moment as an element of surprise or to catch Madara off guard. You know what I mean? And not be able to do more damage to Madara. You know? Like, I really don't see why. And there's no feat and there's no scan to actually show Madara being able to tank that level of strength and power just in base. With, like, you know what I mean? With no Sharingan, no Sage Mode, no nothing. Because there's no feats for it. You know what I mean? Like, whenever he's fighting anyone that is strong enough to hurt him, he immediately does his Susanoo, okay? The body. You know, or if he's pressed or forced to go into it, he'll use his perfect Susanoo. And the only time he didn't do that when he was fighting threats that were really fucking powerful was when he was fighting all the tail beasts at the same time. You know what I mean? And that was when he was alive and he had Sage Mode. But remind you, this is something to keep in mind. He had the Hashirama amp, okay? His cells and everything, meaning for healing and so on and so forth. And he has Hashirama's Sage Mode that he's utilizing, that he stole from Hash as well. And then he doesn't have no Rinnegan either. And he's able to fucking fight all the tail beasts, keep up whatever, you know. Then he obviously gets, you know, barraged and blitzed and fucked up and hit from every single one of them. And they all slam their fucking tails on him too. But then he gets back up, you know, he's bleeding a lot, whatever, so on and so forth. and is literally laughing his ass off at the own taste of his blood, and just laughing in like pure satisfaction and joy that, you know, he's alive, and just, you know, just a feeling and whatnot, and the feeling of battle itself, you know, and then puts his rinegan in his eye because Zetsu's able to get to him. And Madara's like, "What took you so long?" You know, and Zetsu talks a little bit of shit. And he's like, "Oh, you're having a little pretty hard time or whatever." And he's like, "Shut the fuck up," you know. Gets the rinegan and basically uses that rinegan and fucking uses limbo on them, and also fucking uses the chains, and, you know, and then starts putting them on the Gedo statue. So, you know, remind you, that is Madara with the rinegan, with the amps, and so on and so forth. So it's like, yeah, those are pretty insane durability feats, but like, you can't apply that to the EMS Madara because, once again, you know what I mean, there's just no way to know and see. Like, the only other time this version of Madara that we're talking about has ever showed any type of durability feat was with his Susanoo, not with his body itself. So really, to be able to like wank, or at least, you know, verify what his level of durability may be, is very, very hard to fucking, you know, specify or just label, period. You know what I mean? But regardless of that, you know, that's basically, you know, everything with that. So it's like, you know, that's the robotic path. You know, he's no fucking joke. He's no slouch. Definitely something. And remind you, this path is going to have the 8 tails Genjutsu inside of it as well. So it's like, you know, good luck, you know. Then you got the animal path, which we all know what the animal path can do. It can summon all the summons, have the bird, have the dog, so on and so forth. You know, and it's going to have the 7 tails beast powers as well. Now, this is my thing with, you know, this is a big deal. The animal path is going to be probably one of the biggest problems for EMS Madara, and the reason why is because not only with the summons can just cause more pressure and, you know, and be able to overwhelm him, okay, is the fact that literally, you know, she has a bird, and the chameleon and the bird are pretty fucking crazy. The chameleon can turn invisible, okay, and literally, unless you have like Sage mode, or if you have like, or Naruto's fucking KCM1, you know, ability where he can sense and see where you're at, you're not going to be able to know where he's at, okay? And then most importantly, you know, that's just an animal summoning he can use to just kind of be out of the fight and just watch and so on and so forth and gain, you know, tactical information and whatnot. You know, so like that summoning's pretty no joke. But the biggest problems, the biggest 2 summonings that could be a big problem for Madara is literally the dog and the bird. And the reason why I'm saying the bird and the dog is because the bird can be absolutely essential for Nagato's survival, or better yet, the pain that can bring them all back to life. You know what I mean? That pain could, you know what I mean? Like, it could be absolutely like essential and whatnot. So it's like, the bird is one way that Nagato, you know, or the passive pain, you know, could be able to survive and live from a perfect Susanoo's sword swing, you know, or fucking devastating fucking, you know, attack potency, okay? And that's a great counter. It's a fantastic fucking counter. You know what I mean? We've seen, like, any users that do have the capability of flying, we've seen how that can help in a fight, you know, for instance, Deidara and Sasuke. You know what I mean? Him being able to fly, or better yet, Deidara against Gaara. You know what I mean? Being able to fly is a big fucking deal, okay? And, you know, it's that itself is pretty fucking essential, you know? And it doesn't matter how powerful you are or whatever, if you can't hit the person, or the person's nowhere near you to where you can fucking fight them, what is Madara gonna do? You know, he can't fly, you know? So that's the first thing to put into consideration. That is a very big deal. You know, so that's something we don't want to forget on. And then, like I said, and then the other big thing is the dog summoning. Now, the reason why the dog is a fucking problem, you know, the dog doesn't really have any feats to display like insane fucking AP, you know what I mean? But what makes the dog so dangerous is that it's practically immortal, and the more you hit it, the more it splits into 2. You know, so it's like it can keep cloning itself, you know, and not only that, the dog is relative to Gamabuta, okay, and at least in terms of strength, not attack potency, I would say, but definitely at least in the terms of strength, you know, and reaction speed and all that as well. So if the the dog is related to him and whatnot and so on and so forth, one thing you guys, a lot of people like really like forget for some reason or don't think it's a big deal, is Gamabuta was able to be summoned during the fight with the fourth Kage. In the fourth Hokage, him himself thought it would be viable and absolutely necessary to summon Gamabuta. And remind you, we're talking about a younger Gamabuta, so meaning technically a weaker one, actually, if you want to be even, really wank him up. But, a younger version of Gamabuta and literally, like, teleports him on top of the Nine Tails, and literally Gamabuta just fucking, just holds him there. And is literally holding down a full fucking powered Nine Tails, okay? And in that itself, that feat itself is just fucking insane, bro. Like, insane. Like I don't know why people really think that's not a big deal. Like, oh, who gives a fuck about attack potency and all that? I'm not saying that the dog, it's going to be so fucking powerful to where it just shits on the Madara or something. Like, no, that hasn't been demonstrated. But what has been demonstrated is it is definitely on par with Gamabuta and the other Toad Sages, And if Gamabuta can do that, I don't see why the dogs couldn't be able to utilize their weight to use that as some way of being effective, against Perfect Susanoo, or moving the Perfect Susanoo around if it rams into him or whatever, or let's say bites, the leg or whatever, the legs, and, and just like trying to shake, his mouth and uses his weight to try to move it. I can definitely see the dogs, especially if there's multiple of them, and just like let's say like 100 of them, that just jump in the air and just fall on Madara, it's Perfect Susanoo, or just bite his legs and try to bring him down. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm pretty, like, you could really fucking debate and say, hey, like, that could be a problem, like, or better yet, the dog could, be able to fucking, what's it called? Like, let's say, like, if it's crucial at the moment, the dog could just move and, like, bite or, like, not eat, but, like, bite Nagato or a pain that needs to still be there to be crucial for the fight or whatever, I don't know, like, or just put him in his mouth and just tank the fucking hit from an attack from Madara, and it just splits into two, and the person that was in his mouth it's perfectly fine. Like, that can happen, like, so it's like the dog is pretty fucking crazy, you know what I mean? It is no fucking joke. And the fact that you can't even kill that summoning unless you kill the summoning user, like, what the fuck are you gonna do? So now Naruto has more now Madara has more pressure. You know what I mean? It's gonna be more overwhelming. That's a big deal. So, and in my opinion, you know what I mean? With actually, before I even go to that, but anyways, that's the animal path. So that's why I think the animal path is actually absolutely like crucial or critical in this fight too, and does definitely play a pretty good role in it. Because it's that path is definitely something not to sleep on, and once again, that path will be most definitely the Seven Tails. If in all honesty, if you want to give him the Eight Tails, sure, fine, okay, whatever. Fuck it, but that's just me. So, and that'll be that. But anyways, and then we'll go to the next pain, and the next pain, like, basically when it goes from there, like, it just gets a little bit more lower ball and whatnot, and it's not really that big of a fucking deal. But then you have hang on. Then you have the human path, which would be the Six Tails, and then and then 5 and 4, and that'll just basically be it. And we all know what the human path can do, and so on and so forth, and the other two paths of pains can do, and that'll be it. Okay, and and that's basically the paths of pains. So, and one thing to keep into consideration, the fact that they have Tail Beast, meaning that you could definitely imply that can amp their abilities as well, to even more of a higher pedestal, because obviously, having more chakra can make you more powerful. Or amplify your moves at least. We've seen it with the Rinegan and other characters and so on and so forth, So that's a big deal as well itself. And then not only that, just from analyzing the fight with Obito against Killer Bee and Naruto and Kakashi and Guy, like, the fact that they can all emit a Tail Beast bomb and combine all of theirs into one, and it's able to be equivalent to a Nine Tails, half the, full power, half Nine Tails QB bomb, and cancel out and be even. And then the Eight Tails, like, went into its like octopus, like fucking you know, like defense mode or whatever, and was able to tank, you know, the explosion of that. Like the fact that that can even happen, okay, is pretty fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like it is pretty goddamn nuts. And if you really, really think about it, you know what I mean? Like that's a big deal, you know. So imagine this. Imagine the Nine Tails, the full power transformation Nine Tails, the Eight Tails, Seven Tails, and Six Tails, and Five and Four Tails, all combining their fucking, you know, like QB bomb chakra into one and just shoot that shit at Madara's perfect Susanoo. There is no fucking way Madara's tanking that shit, bro. Like there's no way. The only way you could even apply that he could even tank something like that to that relative amount of fucking power is if Madara had the Nine Tails and wrapped his Susanoo around that, you know what I mean, the QB. But he doesn't even have the QB, you know what I mean? Instead, Nagato has the fucking Nine Tails at his disposal, you know what I mean? And this fucking path, you know, can literally not only, you know, use Chibaku Tensei and fucking Almighty Push, you know, and whatnot, but can also, you know, go into its Tail Beast transformations. And it's just so much fucking power itself. It's so much, you know, and if it goes into its full transformation, bro, like I don't see how, you know, EMS Madara is going to have enough stamina and chakra to be able to contend with a full power fucking Nine Tails, full power, you know, Eight Tails, and so on and so forth, and dealing with Nagato at the same fucking time. Like I just don't see it. I just don't. I don't fucking see it, you know. So I definitely sorry, I'm a little gassy right now. Definitely really wanted to emphasize on that because, you know, like the fucking Tail Beast as Paths of Pains, and remind you they had the Rinnegan and the Sharingan as well. I'm not gonna give him the Sharingan. I'm just gonna give him both Rinnegan because I don't know. I don't know. I just don't want to give him the Sharingan. I feel like, you know, like I don't know. But so they both have the Rinnegan, and it's like, you know, they have Rinnegan, same abilities, you know, at least one of them has one of the abilities, and they can use their Tail Beast abilities. It's like, what the fuck are they supposed to do, you know? Like, what, like, you know, like, this is going to be so much for Madara to deal with, you know, and so that's why I really wanted to explain that. Now, I'm going to get into the win conditions for Nagato first, and then I will give a win condition for Madara, okay? For Nagato, I feel like there's a lot more ways, and I feel like, you know, he could definitely pull it off. So one way I would definitely say is most definitely the element of surprise. And the reason why I really like try to like, you know, really explain this, you know, and make people try to at least understand and see what I'm talking about is, you know, the one thing that's absolutely clutch about not having Intel on Rinnegan, and also, you know, not even knowing that it can just, you know, disable the laws, you know, of ninja itself and life and death, is the fact that like not having intel on the Rinnegan is a big fucking deal. You know, like a lot of its moves and attacks can be able to catch the user off guard, and if they're not intelligent enough, they're gonna have to use their tactical, you know, analysis abilities to be able to figure out what's going on at that moment. Now, could Madara absolutely do that? Obviously. If Jiraiya and other people can, I don't see why he couldn't either. Okay. But regardless, like, it's still going to catch Madara off guard anyways, because once again, he's not going to know, you know? So, like, the moment, you know, an ability's happening, he's going to be like, whoa, what the fuck just happened, you know? Or, whoa, what's this? Or, whoa, what's that, you know? So there's going to be a lot of off guard moments. You know, Pain's vision is linked, so Madara's going to be confused of why he's dismissing, you know, certain attacks or how they're just dodging that shit casually, you know? But then he'll realize what's going on, obviously, immediately, you know? So it's like, that's a huge factor, you know, and whatnot. And regardless, despite of even talking about anything else, okay, this is automatically a win condition. I don't care what like anyone fucking says, but this is like definitely possible because he's done it with Jiraiya. You know what I mean? He's done it with other people. Okay, if Nagato is able to persuade and make Madara believe that he's dead, okay, and then bring back the Pains to life, you know, and literally and have the fucking robot Pain just sneak up on him like he did to Jiraiya, I don't see how Madara is going to either survive from either getting one shot or better yet taking pretty critical damage, and now he's very, very hurt, and having to fight, you know what I mean, all paths of pains all over again. I just don't see Madara coming out of that, you know what I mean? Or better yet, you know, fucking second win condition. Okay, Madara is able to outlast him, you know, fight him for a while, so on and so forth. And then next thing you know, like fucking Madara's fatigued, getting super tired, can't go perfect Susanoo anymore, yada yada. And then Nagato just brings all the passive pains back, and he's like, hey bitch, we're not done. That is also something in character of what Nagato would do, or especially at least Pain does as well. Like literally, like he'll wait till you're completely fatigued and whatnot, and just like he did with Jiraiya, to where like, you know, once Jiraiya was out of sage mode and also very hurt as well, then he summons all the pains. You know, he was only using 3 pains to fight Jiraiya that whole time. Okay, and then literally when all 3 of them die, you know, obviously he had the pain, you know, that can bring them all back to life and heal any injury. You know what I mean? Like, then that pain comes and just basically fucking just brings them back to life, and then bam, you know, are able to fucking have the element of surprise and go from there, you know? Like, if that shit happens to Madara while he's completely drained, completely fatigued, and he's like, ugh, that was a very hard battle, I won, whatever, and then Nagato's like, won what? You know what I mean? And he's like, what? You know what I mean? It's GG. It's GG, and he's not coming out of that alive. Okay, so that's the second way, you know, of him losing. A third way, this is also very, very, very fucking, you know, debatable and possible. Okay, it's the fact that either the Tendo, you know, Pain with the full fucking power Nine Tails, or better yet, Nagato himself, okay, could easily, and I mean fucking easily, you know, use a mighty pull, and you can definitely debate or say that it's potential for him to break his perfect Susanoo, or at the very least his regular body of armor. Okay, the more chakra reserve you have, the more chakra you have, just period. The fact that he's alive and at his prime and so on and so forth, that is a big fucking deal, and arguably possible for him to break through his Susanoo. You know, and then the Nine Tails one, I'm sorry. If you have the fucking power of the full power Nine Tails and then use fucking Almighty Push, I don't want to hear that fucking Madara can tank that, bro. I don't know, man. I don't see it. I really don't see that. But anyways, you know, that's another win condition in my opinion. Or better yet, Chubaku Tensei. You know, so if that Pain Nine Tails uses Chubaku Tensei, meaning that his seal would technically be more stronger. And it reminds you, if you're more powerful and you get enough amps and whatnot, technically the jutsu gets more powerful itself. We've seen that many times in Naruto. So for instance, an example is when it was Edo Nagato, he was literally sealing Killer Bee, Itachi, and Naruto like it was no fucking issue. And then when an exhausted, extremely fatigued Pain was able to seal the half power of Naruto, you know what I mean? Oh no, half power of the Nine Tails in Naruto, like, that's a big fucking deal, you know what I mean? And clearly there's 2 big differences, you know, like, to where fatigued, exhausted Pain could literally seal the half of the power of the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails had to go full transformation just to get out, okay? And then Edo Nagato is able to seal KCM 1 Naruto, which is way more powerful than Sage Mode Naruto, okay? And also Killer Bee and Itachi, and they only fucking broke out because all 3 of them used their strongest jutsu, okay? Naruto did a Raisen Shuriken, Killer Bee did his full power 8-tailed Kyuubi bomb, okay? And Itachi did his Susanoo, you know, like little beads. That's like a range move that, you know, Chiyo have with their Susanoo. And that was able to like the explosion it caused, which was fucking insane itself, you know, but that's what it took in order to break.
Hello everybody, it's Batman, and we're gonna be making a video, and we're about to do a voice.
Hang on, somebody just like scared the shit out of me and caught me off guard. Holy fuck.
20 more minutes if the guy's gonna be.
Holy shit, that caught me off guard. I forgot I was like uploading something and it just caught me off guard. Sorry for stopping, but anyways, you know, so like that's what it took to get rid of Edo Nagato. So imagine Prime alive Nagato using Chubaku Tensei, you know, and how much more powerful of a ceiling that would be, you know, and to unlimited, you know, reserves of chakra that he could be utilizing from the Tailed Beast and having the Gedo statue, so on and so forth. Like, that's a big fucking deal, you know. And in my opinion, you could argue, and it is debatable, of whether or not Madara could be able to break out of that, you know. I don't know. Like, it's definitely fucking possible. Like, I don't see, like, if a very exhausted, fatigued pain can be able to seal, half the power of the Nine Tails, but obviously the Nine Tails still got out, but is able to do that, and then an Edo Nagato could be able to like do his move, okay, and literally think and believe that he can still seal the full power. Well, not full power, half the Nine Tails and the full power Eight Tails along with Itachi, and he still uses that move and actually thinks it'll work on them. Like that's a pretty big deal, and it's a pretty good feat. Okay, now if like the Eight Tails went full transformation, or actually, now really a really good counter to that. Actually, I don't know. I actually think that they would have got sealed if they didn't throw their three strongest attacks. Like if Itachi wasn't there, I strongly believe they would have got sealed. And the reason why is because if the full power Eight Tails power alone was strong enough to break out of it, Killer Bee would have just transformed and broke out of it, and that would have been that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Or better yet, let's say like they didn't throw their three moves, or let's say just or Itachi wasn't there, whatever, and they get sealed into that big fucking ball that, remind you, still gonna be more powerful, but you could also debate that the full power Nine Tails will still be able to break out of that, especially if half the power of a Nine Tails was able to break out of the one with the weaker, exhausted, fatigue pain. But like I said, it's debatable, but it's out there. You know what I mean? It's out there. It is another potential, win scenario if you really think about it. I would be ignorant to say if it wasn't. Better than that. Now the fourth win condition, and I strongly, and I mean very, very, very strongly believe in this. Okay, I'm trying to think of how like Madara would even just stop this. Okay, is if all the tail beasts are about to launch a QB bomb, you know what I mean? And then and then Nagato does his like pull ability, or the Tendo Pain does his pull ability, and then literally, what's it called? Literally, then like just pulls Madara and just pulls him into the fucking like full blast fucking QB explosion, and then he's just dead. Or better yet, like pulls him, and then Madara's like, oh fuck, I'm getting pulled, like what the hell's going on? And then while he's getting pulled, like Madara, like goes into like his perfect Susanoo. But even if he goes into his perfect Susanoo, he's still gonna be fucking pulled. You know what I mean? Like the gravity's still gonna be launched onto his body, and he's going to be pulled whether he likes it or not. Okay. And while he's getting pulled, like even if he has a sword, maybe try to strike at him or whatever, okay, like fucking if he touches that Susanoo, he could absorb the Susanoo. That's another way he can deal with that too. Or especially if the other pain's right next to him, the one that will be able to absorb all ninjutsu. If he's right there and touches the Susanoo with him while he's there too, and he's touching the Susanoo, guaranteed that they would be able to absorb it. And at least for Nagato, I can't say the same. Actually, no, you can say the same. But basically, when they absorb it, it also goes into them, and it can either heal them or make them stronger. That's something to keep in mind. So for one, they could absorb the Susanoo the moment they touch it, and then two, another thing is, let's say he's pulling, Madara in or whatever, and Madara tries to use his sword to slam it on him, you know what I mean, or to slice him or whatever. Like if the sword connects on Nagato, he could be able to absorb it on hit. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because when Killer Bee blitzed, the white hair, like severely weakened Nagato and slammed into him with his lariat as like the Eight Tails transformation, he was able to absorb the Eight Tails immediately. And when I say like immediately, I mean like in 2 or 3 seconds, okay? And literally like fucking absorbed all his power. Then his hair turned red and he turned completely like healthy, and then started shitting on Killer Bee and Naruto just with that amount of chakra absorption. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you could definitely argue that the moment the sword even has contact in any part of his body, because he doesn't have to use his hands, it could just hit anywhere, and then he could absorb it, he could just absorb that immediately, because remember, all that is chakra. It's literally fucking chakra. Okay, and that ability can absorb any amount of fucking ninjutsu or chakra. Like that's just what it can do. It's a hack ability for a reason, you know. So it doesn't matter, you know, how many tail beast bombs. It doesn't matter or whatever. He can absorb it, you know, like fucking shit. So it's like, I don't know. I don't see how that would even do any good for Madara. And then another thing, the best fucking combo, if you really want to be fucking, you know, like whatever, the best combo to really say anything is fucking he's pulling Madara, and then basically so this is what would happen, like fucking he sends, you know, all his forces at him, you know, all to try to overwhelm him and blitz him or whatever. Madara, you know, goes immediately into his Susanoo, and then while fighting, and then gets pressed to go into perfect. And the moment he goes perfect, Nagato is going to bring out the Gedo statue, and either the Gedo statue can, you know, obviously debatably go toe to toe with the fucking Susanoo, you know, or better yet, he can go into his fucking, you know, last resort mode to where all those rods go into him, and then literally he's controlling, and then basically summons the fucking spirit dragon, okay, and anything the spirit dragon touches, you're dead. So literally, while he's controlling it, and Madara is getting pulled by, you know, that pull move, okay, Madara is dead. He can't be able to dodge it. He definitely won't be able to tank it because it's just gonna fucking take out his soul, okay, and that's it. It's GG. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, that is an absolute win condition, because if Madara is getting pulled to him and the dragon is going to him, there's no way he can dodge it. Can't tank the fucking attack. He's dead, and that's it. You know, like it's GG. So, you know, that's also a win condition right there. And if you want to, you know, try to be creative and maybe analyze it a little bit farther, and, you know, think of any other way he can maybe pull off a dub too, sure. You know what I mean? Because like I said, that's what makes his fight so interesting. It's the fact that he has such a variety of ways, you know, to fight Madara as of now. You know, with all the movesets and hack abilities he has, the summons, you know, and then the tail beast abilities, and then their transformation power-ups and so on and so forth, and then the Gedo statue, you know what I mean? Like if he really wanted to be a dick, he could just put all the fucking tail beasts into the Gedo statue and use the Gedo statue to fight against Madara, you know, and then beat him, you know, or he could fucking, you know, summon the 10 tails, you know, from putting all of them into it, and just, you know, fucking control the fucking 10 tails, or fucking become the 10 tail Genjutsu, you know, and then what the fuck is Madara gonna do? So it's like, Nagato has many ways to be able to overcome him, you know what I mean? And it's just as easy as that. Now, if you want to say there's a win condition for Madara, the only thing I can see Madara doing, and I'm going to be really honest, the only way I can see this possible, okay, is if somehow, some way, he is able to kill the pain that can bring them back to life, okay? If he is somehow, some way able to do that, you know, I don't see how Nagato is gonna win, because if he's dead, he can't use anything, you know what I mean? So if he uses his perfect Susanoo and somehow, some way is able to kill that pain, it's GG, you know what I mean? It's fucking GG. But like I said, you can easily counter that, because if he has the bird, or if he has his summonings that can just, you know, devour him and protect him with their mouth, you know, like for instance, like Sasuke's done it, you know, Sasuke knew damn well that he couldn't outrun or be able to tank Deidara's fucking move. So he literally summons the fucking snake and literally uses his Sharingan to make him wrap around him to take the hit for him, and it kills him, okay? The fact that Sasuke, like that he can utilize the summoning to protect him, Nagato could be able to do the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? And then not only that, if we're really being like, you know, really, you know, smart here, which Nagato is not dumb, okay? He can also have the pain that can bring him back to life on the bird the whole fucking time, okay? You know, or better yet, actually, yeah, it would make a lot more sense for him to have it on the bird. In this way, the bird is in the sky, completely safe, watching the fight, you know what I mean, while everything's going down. And that's that, you know what I mean? And the bird would be fast enough to be able to react to Madara Susanoo as well. I don't think Madara Susanoo fucking just somehow, some way could speed blitz a fucking, you know, rinegan enhanced flying bird, you know what I mean? Especially if it's super fucking high in the air. Like, you could argue that maybe the shockwaves, if the bird is, you know, close enough to where it can kind of affect the summoning, but like, it's not going to kill it. It's just going to make it, you know, go a little bit backwards or you know, whatever. Like, it's not going to do anything, you know, like, So it's going to be really hard for him to even land a hit with his fucking, Susanoo. And one thing you got to remember is, Madara is going to have so much in front of him coming at him. He's not going to have time to even pay attention to the bird summoning that's flying up in the air, watching everything. Or better yet, if that pain is also on the chameleon that can turn invisible, if that chameleon is fucking, just hiding somewhere and either has a summoning next to it at all times to protect it just in case, or better yet, fucking just to be at a very far distance, and just to be in in the safe area. That's another way too. And then there you go. It's problem solved. So basically, literally the only win condition that Madara can really have is if fucking that doesn't happen and Nagato doesn't decide to use his fucking brain, and then the pain dies, and so now he can't bring them back to life or whatever, and then that's just that, then yeah, it's GG, or better yet, if Nagato is obviously killed, then yeah, it's GG, so that's just that. Now, another thing to keep in mind though, there was a point in the fight with Itachi Killer Bee in Naruto, to where when he got his arm cut off by the Tosca blade, his arm immediately regenerated, through the machinery and the robotics. That's something to keep in mind. It didn't even regenerate from the reanimation jutsu or anything like that. It literally just regenerated from the robotics that were inside of him, which that's a new thing, because the Path of Pain never used that in the fight with, during the Pain arc. But yet Nagato was able to do that. So I don't know if that's just an ability only Nagato can use, just with him, or the Path of Pain in him. But that was also a new thing, and that did happen in that fight. So technically, let's say if somehow Nagato did sustain some damage, or got cut or whatever, he could just regenerate his body through the machinery and robotics, and he's back in the fight. And there you go, so that's basically going to be it, though, guys. That's going to be my take on this fight. In my opinion, like I said, obviously Madara will, if you're scaling Madara to Pain, the weakest version, where Nagato is crippled and he's controlling the paths, obviously that's a big difference in gap in power. But if we're talking about an alive prime Nagato with, the 6 paths of Pains that are tailed beasts, from 9 tails to below, and having the Gedo statue at his, at his hands, being able to utilize that and so on and so forth with the summonings, I don't know. I feel like it would just be too overwhelming for Madara. You know what I mean? I really do feel that. I feel like the teamwork would be enough. It would be too overwhelming for Madara, and he would just be able to outlast him as well. It's just that's simple. If the element of surprise in catching Madara off guard with not only him not knowing about the rinegan abilities don't work, and let's say him being able to sneak up on Madara after convincing Madara that he was dead doesn't work, okay? As long as he keeps, obviously, himself alive and the summoning pain alive and the dead pain alive, I feel like those 3 pains right there are absolutely essential, okay? If he can keep, those 3 alive and himself alive, I don't see how Madara just wins at all. The summoning, like I said, the dog summoning is just infinite. It'll just keep coming at Madara over and over and over and over until he's just fucking dead in water and tired as shit, and that's just it, you know what I mean? Or the pain that can bring him back to life, he'll just keep bringing them back to fucking life, and then obviously Nagato, he's going to be the biggest, most important person not to die, as well, because if he's dead, then guess what? All the past pains fall, and then that's it, GG, and the Madara just walks away, and now he has all that fucking power to himself, and he's like, well, now I get a rinegan and all these tailed beasts, yay, I'm gonna go fuck up Hashirama, and now it's fucking rinegan Madara versus, with the 10 tails husk with all the tailed beasts versus Hashirama, and poor Hashirama, he takes the L and dies, and then Madara rules the world, yay, so, but anyways, so that's gonna be my take on this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the fight. Obviously, this, you may think it was probably unfair or whatever, but this is the only way I could even ever see Nagato pulling, a win in any form or shape or way. You know what I mean? Just the power cliff is just so far apart, and that's why I had to do these type of conditions for this fight and have these versions of characters fighting against each other. But other than that, if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. I don't care. I do this for fun, guys. I enjoy it. I love debating Naruto. I love giving my inputs and my ideas of how things would more than likely go. Like I said, just comment your thoughts down below. Let me know. I am going to put in the link in the description of my Discord server if you do want to debate Naruto. Currently there's no one in it right now, but I do want to start doing that. I've been seeing a lot of other people have Discord servers and just having people debate and having fun or whatever, just talking about random shit. So I am going to put that out there. I'll put the link in the description this way if you want to come on the Discord server and debate me and actually have a professional debate, and judges or whatever and whatnot. I'm cool with that too. I don't mind. Like I said, I do it for fun. I may sound like a dick or sound serious or whatever, but I do it for fun. I have very good sportsmanship. And if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. Whatever. I love doing it. I love Naruto. It's one of my passions. That's that. So let me know or join the Discord server and subscribe for more content. Subscribe if you guys love the channel. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.